It was the most anticipated event of the year, a Dua Lipa concert that had fans from all over the city buzzing with excitement. The night was filled with electric energy as thousands of fans made their way to the grand arena, their neon bracelets glowing in the dark. Tickets had sold out within minutes, and people were willing to pay exorbitant prices to witness the star perform live. Among the crowd was a group of 5 friends: Maya, Sam, Priya, Kevin, and Arjun. They had managed to secure front row seats thanks to Maya's relentless efforts in the ticket lottery. The night seemed perfect, but little did they know that this concert would be their worst nightmare. The air was thick with anticipation as the opening acts finished and the stage went dark. A sudden hush fell over the crowd, followed by an eruption of screams as the spotlight illuminated Dua Lipa, who stood at the center of the stage like a goddess descended from the heavens. The first few songs were met with ecstatic cheers, but soon, something strange began to happen. As Dua started singing her hit song, "Don't Start Now," the lights flickered, plunging the arena into darkness for a brief moment. The crowd cheered, thinking it was part of the show, but Maya noticed something odd. When the lights came back, the entire audience looked different. Their faces were pale, eyes wide open, staring at the stage with an unnatural intensity, as if they were in a trance. Maya turned to her friends, but they too had fallen silent, their faces blank and expressionless. "Guys," she whispered, shaking Kevin's shoulder, but he didn't respond. Panic rose in her chest as she realized that everyone around her was eerily still, swaying to the beat in perfect unison. The music grew louder, more distorted, and Maya could feel the bass vibrating through her bones. The lyrics of the song seemed to change, Dua's voice sounding darker, more sinister. It was no longer the upbeat anthem everyone knew. The words were twisted, chanting something in a language Maya didn't recognize. It was as if the music was casting a spell over the audience. Suddenly, the giant screens flanking the stage flickered, showing strange, cryptic symbols instead of the usual close-up shots of Dua Lipa. The air turned cold, and Maya could see her breath fogging up in front of her face. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. It was as if the arena had been transported into another realm. Out of the corner of her eye, Maya saw shadows slithering along the walls, moving unnaturally fast. Her heart pounded as she realized they weren't just shadows. They were figures, with eyes glowing red, creeping closer to the crowd. The figures were dressed in long, tattered robes, their faces obscured by darkness. They moved silently, their bony fingers reaching out towards the entranced audience. Maya felt a cold hand grip her ankle, and she let out a silent scream, kicking frantically to free herself. She turned around, but there was no one there. Her friends were still swaying, lost in the trance. The shadows seemed to be feeding off the energy of the crowd, growing larger and more menacing with each passing second. Desperate to escape, Maya pushed her way through the crowd, but it was like trying to move through a sea of statues. Everyone was locked in place, eyes glued to the stage. The distorted music grew louder, pounding in her ears, making it hard to think. She stumbled, her vision blurring as the symbols on the screens seemed to burn into her mind. In a moment of clarity, she remembered the emergency exit at the side of the arena. Summoning all her strength, she sprinted towards it, dodging the shadowy figures that reached out for her. The door was just within reach when she heard a blood-curdling scream behind her. She turned to see Sam, her best friend, being dragged into the shadows, his face contorted in terror. But there was no time to save him. Tears streaming down her face, she slammed into the exit door, only to find it locked. "No, no, no," she cried, pounding on the door. The music stopped abruptly, plunging the arena into an eerie silence. A spotlight swung towards her, pinning her in place. She turned to see Dua Lipa staring directly at her, but her eyes were no longer human. They were pitch black, voids of darkness that seemed to swallow the light. "You can't leave," Dua's voice echoed, but it was no longer her voice. It was deep, guttural, like something out of a nightmare. The crowd turned in unison, their heads snapping towards Maya with unnatural speed. Their eyes were glowing the same shade of red as the shadows. Maya's heart raced as the shadows closed in, chanting in that strange language, the sound reverberating through the arena. She felt herself being lifted off the ground, her body paralyzed as she was dragged back towards the stage. The last thing she saw before everything went black was Dua Lipa's twisted smile, her face morphing into something monstrous, her mouth opening impossibly wide to reveal rows of sharp, glistening teeth. The next morning, the news reported that the concert had been a massive success, with record-breaking attendance. But there were whispers, rumors of people who had gone missing, fans who were never seen again. Those who had attended the concert were different, their eyes hollow, their smiles too wide, as if something had taken hold of them. Maya's friends were never found, and the footage from that night was mysteriously corrupted, showing nothing but static and distorted images. The arena was shut down, labeled as cursed by the locals. But every night, if you stood close enough, you could still hear the faint echoes of that haunting music, calling out to those who dared to listen. And the posters for the next special concert? They were already up.